I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the Belayed Again Stephen King's It book study, 16, 17, and 18. With me, as always, is my trusty TA, Big Al. Say hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
What was the delay there?
What? Oh, no delay. I don't think I was delayed, was I?
I said, say hi, Al. Then there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, Al.
It wasn't that long.
Well, I'm concerned because, man, just problem after freaking problem after freaking problem.
No,
has been killing me
kidding.
here. Yeah, I know. Well, I was logging into we finally got power back. Thank freaking finally got power back, and I plug in everything, and I realized that my usual microphone's not working, and I think it was not plugged into a surge protector like an idiot, and to the phantom power got fried. I need to buy another phantom power unit for that mic. So
Wow,
it's great.
Well, I can hear you.
So that's why I'm stuck with this little. Yeah, that's why I'm stuck with this little headset here that I'm using. I'll probably get on cam for the office hours.
That's what I use. Little headset.
Well, I can't even find the good headset like the one you have. I found like an older one that's just like plugging into an AC jack. So as long as everybody in the chat, can you guys all hear me okay and everything? Hello, chat. It'll take them a second for the delay. But let me know if everybody...
Have you tweeted out the link?
Not yet, no.
Okay, just asking.
Do that. I was all ready to. You doing my usual things there. And yes, Stephen Crusoe, yeah, we hear you. Good. Okay, yes, Melissa here, yeah. So welcome, guys. I will talk to you in just a second here. But yeah, for those who don't know what's going on, Daniel here, no, office hours will be at 11 as it usually is, maybe a little bit after. We just needed to fit in this week's Stephen King's It Bible study, so that's why we are here for that.
Did you actually say Bible study?
Did I say a Bible study?
I think you did.
Stephen King book study? Oh God.
Yeah, you said Bibles, yeah, because that didn't sound like book.
It's been a freaking. Now you are roboting out big time. That's not my connection, is it? How's it? You guys hear?
Well, I was going to close out. Hello?
Yeah, we're here. You just like
I was having issues with my Wi-Fi earlier. Not my Wi-Fi, but my computer reading my Wi-Fi. So I had to like log off, log on again, and then I had to go in and turn something on, and had to do Control F2 or F2, that thing. Finally, everything it came up and has been working. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm here, so I was waiting.
We've had major storms.
Yeah, we had one kind of pop through tonight.
Yeah. So we're here. So we need to power through these 3, technically 4 if you look at the dairy interlude that we're doing too. But chapters, and then we'll do the office hours, and I'll give you the whole spiel about the power, and I'll lament all of my frustrating days and everything once we get back to that. But let's dive on into the book study so we can do that. Does that sound good?
Sounds good, because we're 2 days late.
Yeah, 2 days late. So again, for everybody who just popped in, this is we're doing the Stephen King's book study. We're catching up on that right now. And then at 11 at our usual time, maybe a little after, depending on if we can get all this in, we'll switch over and I'll open up a new stream and just do our office hours as usual with all the usual hijinks and whatnot.
Are you hitting your mic? Something scratching against your mic. Or it sounds like it is.
No, I was opening my book. Everything you say sounds scratchy. Maybe it's just your connection.
I don't know. It sounds like you're in the wind.
Oh, I did turn the fan on because I was really hot. Yeah, that fan. This mic probably isn't doing too well with the fan. All right, there. I moved it over a little bit. Is that better?
Yep. Cleared it up.
Yep. It's actually only getting a warbling sound. Sorry, my usual good mic can handle a fan right on me, but it's so freaking hot in here. Yeah, boomer. Yeah, wind tunnel. Yeah. So sorry. All right. So we are on chapter 16, Eddie's bad break. And this is the chapter that we start off by getting Eddie's recollection of when the pharmacist took him in and told him about his inhaler actually being a placebo and that he doesn't actually have asthma. Mr. Keene, the pharmacist, it's just that his mother wants him to be sick, and his mother keeps complaining to the doctor, and the doctor eventually just prescribed him Hydrox, which is just water mist, and they put a little camphor in to give it a medicine-y taste.
Oh, Hydrox. I thought that was like the generic Oreo. Sorry, that's another thing.
What?
Haven't you ever heard of a Hydrox
I have no
cookie?
idea what you're talking about.
Haven't you ever heard of a Hydrox cookie? It's like a generic Oreo.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, look it up one day.
Okay.
Not right now, but just saying.
I will check that out. So what did before I launch into kind of my take on this this chapter or this scenario, the fact that this is a thing, why do you think this isn't? Do you have any ideas as to why you think this is included in the book? Why isn't he really sick? Why is his mother just trying to make him sick?
There's several ideas. Like I said, you can just think about it face value. It gives you an inner look into their relationship. She loves her child. She wants to make sure he's okay and dote over him. And what better way to always be doting over him than to have a sickly child? So it could be her way of like just controlling him, making sure he's okay. He's always close. She's always got an excuse to keep him home, out of danger, maybe. Or like I said, I think I'd be getting ahead of myself a little bit there. But like I said, when you really find out that it's her problem, that there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
And then he finally stands up. I think it's an indication of, now that he is part of the 7, the Losers Club, he's kind of, it's almost like he's getting the strength that he sees in all of them, and he's kind of tapping into it to be able to stand up to her.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We will get to that. And you're right. And you're already going at some really good psychological issues and everything that are definitely in there. We're definitely going to talk about. Troy Bajelli says apparently Hydrox is actually a brand name for the cream-filled chocolate sandwich cookie manufactured by Leaf Brands. It predates Oreo by 4 years.
Yeah, but we all know Oreo. We all know Oreo.
The more you know.
But we all know Oreo is better.
Well, let me attack this at even more of a basic level, though. He finds out that his inhaler is a placebo, and he finds out what a placebo is. Why do placebos work for people? Why does Mr. Keene tell him that placebos work sometimes?
It's because they think they're sick and they think they're getting something that's making them better. Right.
So placebo works because of belief. Paladin is conviction, right? Faith, belief, right? This is one of the big themes of the book.
Okay, yeah,
I can kill them if they only halfway believe, but they need to always believe, So this is why I think this is even in here at all. I mean, it's just on first glance, it might seem kind of random. The story could have worked just the same in terms of the same events could have happened, even if Eddie truly did have asthma. But this, sets up some stuff. So we got this idea, this extra layer of belief, and Eddie believes so much. And later on, it even says his belief in that, because it's hinting at something that's going to come in the end here. His belief in that inhaler is one of the things that'll save them, when they're in the sewers. And that is something that's going to happen later. We'll get to that, but it's already planting the seed of that.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think we've really gotten to that part in the book yet.
Yeah.
I was like, but it's I was going there, so I had to like pull it back. I'm like,
But the chat had some really good things too. Zach Change Only, I was like, why did she do that? Zach Change Only is like bad parenting. Yep, yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, very,
Melissa Harris talking about Munchhouse.
yeah, Munchausen by proxy. Yeah,
Mhm.
we learned
But
about that.
which I,
The the parent or the caretaker likes the attention that surrounds their child or the person they're taking care of's illness. Uh,
mhm. and, then, and
so that's why I said it's her. It's really her problem as far as what's going on between them.
mhm. I think even more so though than that, she seems to. We don't really see her getting attention. We see her just needing him. Like when he really just like, all right. So he has this encounter with the pharmacist. He runs out, and that's when he's kind of let his guard down. And Henry Bowers and his gang, comes upon him and finds him, and they end up beating him up. It's horrible things, the rocks and
Oh God,
everything, and they end up breaking his arm.
That was brutal to experience.
Shoving the rocks in his mouth, cutting his gums and everything. Oh, ouch! Yeah, that was bad. So so he ends up in the hospital with a broken arm. It could have been a lot worse, but luckily it's just a broken arm. Through all of these incidents, though, what I want to draw attention to is because all of this is centered around his mother being such a horrible mother, keeping him sick for her benefit, not really taking care of him for his benefit, but keeping him around for her benefit. There's a repetition of some details. Eddie is enamored over and over and over again with breasts throughout this this chapter, but not in the same way, not in a sexual way like Ben might be. It's a motherly way, right? So we see it when he first goes into Mr. Nell's office. I said Mr. Keene, I think it's Mr. Nell. Yeah, Mr. Nell's office. Mm-hmm. Sitting across from him, a little brown bottle, reading a paperback called "I, the Jury." The girl on the cover had the biggest bosoms Eddie had ever seen. All right, so that's just there. You don't know what that could necessarily mean. There's a bunch of instances. Let me just plug at some of the ones that I underlined. Then when he's in the Mr. Nell's the cop. I'm sorry, Mr. Nell's the cop in the ambulance that was reading the book. So he was in the ambulance. And he looked up and had the biggest bosoms he'd ever seen. On the very next page, he's in the hospital bed, and the nurse says, "Don't try to talk." She was young, and he could feel her bosoms pressed against his arm. For a moment, he had this crazy idea that the nurse was Beverly Marsh. Then he drifted away again. We'll talk about that Beverly Marsh thing too. At the beginning of part 5, then the nurse was giving him a pill. He felt her bosoms against his shoulder again and was sure. So again, this isn't a sexual thrill he's getting at these. They feel like a comforting pressure. It's a motherly thing. The breasts are used to nurse, right? Eddie's being kept in a motherly relationship where he's being treated as far younger than he really is. So that's the idea. He's on the lookout for sincere motherly comfort, and he sees it from the nurse. And then that little thing about I almost thought she was Beverly. That kind of ties a little bit because we were talking last time about how each one of them, quote unquote, loves Beverly in some way. And it's not all the romantic love like Bill does. And I would even say not Ben, I'm sorry. I would even say Ben's probably the only one that truly romantically loves her. Bill becomes sexually aware of her, in these couple of chapters, and he's kind of interested in that aspect, but Ben's the only one with real pining romantic love. Paladin knows that Eddie reminds me of Norman Bates. Yeah. Then he has this dream.
I keep thinking Howard Wolowitz when I think of Eddie. How I gets mother. Wolowitz's mother just
from yeah. So he's asleep and he's dreaming about his friends coming, which did really happen, but he's kind of seeing sort of a vision of it. He was surprised to see that Beverly was wearing a dress. It was a lovely green, the color of the Caribbean in a National Geographic plate. All right, again, why use that why use that language? Why use that angle? It was a green. All right. So green has to be something because it actually wasn't green. We'll find out later. So this means something. This isn't just a random details like, check it out. It'd be really cool if he remembers, like in her dream, she wears a different dress. That's dumb. That means something, right? So it's green. Green's a verdant, life-giving, color, Mother Nature, even, and the color of the Caribbean in a National Geographic. So it's something exotic to him. This idea of a true motherly presence is not something that he associates with or knows on a more intimate basis, right? It's something more exotic to him, and we see it continue to the imagery continues to roll. As we even go farther into to Bev and whatever Eddie things has there with her too, because remember later, in the big scene that everybody likes to go talk about, he's actually the first to go with her. So but we won't get too far into that now. We'll wait for that. Seeing where else I want to go to with this chapter, the idea that his mother is he sees it in his mother, and that he can't even comprehend that, he can't even process that, but that's the it driving his mother to do something so horrible to him, make him sick. Then we get this epic confrontation, which truly is Eddie growing up. When he actually is able to confront his mother, that is just, damn, that's really awesome.
It was a very momentous part. Yeah,
absolutely. And when he's I love it, and he's starting to come around a little bit, and I love that you get her perspective because it makes you hate her all the more. You just can't stand this woman and the way she's trying to manipulate him, but it's for her good. It's always it's for his good. It's always for his good, and stuff. And then you get her perspective, and then she finally realizes the moment he's played her when he's like, but I think maybe Mr. Keene is lying. Maybe he's lying. She's like, that's right. It's horrible of him to do that. He's like, so I think maybe I'll keep using my aspirator and I'll look out for my friends when they come. And she just stops. I love that. She's like, she realizes what he's just done to her. It's so brilliant. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Where's this? Got some more stuff here. Faces. All right, when they come in there too, when his friends finally do show up after that, they all look different. Eddie even has a moment where he says, we're passing over, Eddie thought, passing over into something new. We're on the border, but what's on the other side? Where are we going? Where? Because they're being drawn into this magic confrontation here with it, which is going to happen shortly. And that's growing up, remember? The border, the land between puberty and, of puberty between childhood and adulthood that they're kind of remaining in. I think it's interesting that they allude to it, why they decide, because they're talking about their plan, going to Neibolt Street with they're going to make some silver slugs out of Ben's silver dollars. They're not going to make silver bullets. They don't really know why yet. Later, when they're adult, we get the information that maybe that wouldn't have really worked anyway. But the slugs are there. They want to use it as a slingshot. And Bill just thinks, making silver bullets might just be too difficult or seems like something too much out of child's play or whatever. But the slingshot, that is a loaded reference. Please tell me that I don't have to explain to anybody in the chat what the reference is for a child taking on a complete huge monster with a slingshot is.
I would hope not.
You get that, right, Al?
Yeah.
Okay.
The biblical reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, David and Goliath. We talked about the biblical references all through here. I didn't want to call you out directly just in case you didn't get it, because you told me not to do that anymore.
It's like, stop setting me up for a spike when I'm like laying on the ground, dude.
But you got it. You're all good.
I know David and Goliath. I'm not that dense.
Yeah, maybe you're tired or something.
It's just like the kid in Stranger Things.
Oh,
so I want to just point out one thing really quickly, just how brazenly evil the kids are getting. The Bowers bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough they pick on the Losers Club. Now they're picking on adults. Mm-hmm. Because there was one guy who was actually trying to help. Yeah. And Bowers just like faced him down.
Shoved him.
got him out, and I'm like, Jesus freaking hell, man!
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to take a bullet to stop this guy or
Hmm.
something else. Because
Yeah.
knowing what I know, but it's like, man, it just the brutality of it. It's like,
Um,
what? I mean, it has really got a hold on them.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. Paladin demo. Yeah, silver bullet's harder to craft. Yeah, I mean, you'd imagine, the bullet has to be just precise to
Mhm.
work as a bullet, for the grooves of the gun, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but the chat is enjoying your avatar there, Al. Mad
Oh
Moody was
yes,
the first one to come in.
yes. He actually has a name.
Oh, really? Who is this?
It's familiar. I have named him Fuzzlenip.
Oh no.
He is Pennywise's second cousin on his mother's side.
Oh my gosh.
He's Fuzzlenip.
Fuzzle nip. Okay.
Yep. He
All right.
is also an interdimensional being who likes being a clown. That's
I
all.
I was thinking something that was going to be like because you like alliteration or working your name into things. So it was going to be like Penny Owl, Owlwise or something. I don't know, but then you bust out with
Yeah, I
Fuzzle
thought about it, but then for some reason Fuzzlenip just kind of just rang in my head, and I'm like, Fuzzlenip. Yeah. That
Oh my gosh.
works.
No. Did the moon tell you to name him that?
It was the second star on the right, and I went straight on until morning. Oops, wait,
Gotcha.
wrong story.
So I like this too. Remember we talked about how we were already starting to see each of the children, each of the seven in the Losers Club, have their own unique talents, but that we're going to see a little bit more of that. And we find out here with Bev. Bev is the one who just happens to be able to shoot and aim incredibly well. She's the one that has to be the one to shoot Pennywise with the slingshot and the silver slug.
You mean a strong and capable female before this year?
Well, yeah, that for one thing. But the other thing is, if you just think about it on surface level, there's no seeds within the story to build up to that, right?
Mhm.
So you could even look at it and think, wait a minute. Oh, of course the girl has to be the one amazing, able to shoot or something like that. Because normally you would look for it and say, are there any seeds planted, or is this just something random thrown in to be associated with her? But I don't think that's why. I think it's done for a specific reason. And here's where you guys are gonna say I'm shoveling a little bit too deep, but I'm just gonna keep on doing it because, as I say, each chapter, each week,
Are
it,
are we still in chapter 16?
yeah. I mean, this goes on into the next chapter too, but this is just when they were telling Eddie at the end of chapter 16 about how they lined up all the cans down in the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
barrens, and she was the one to all of her shots nailed it. Beverly, shooting almost casually and appearing to aim not at all, had banged 9 of the 10 cans dead center. The 10th fell over when the rock she fired bounced off the rim. So just hit every one. I mean, just incredible. We are gonna kind of segue over into chapter 7, the Patrick Hockstader and everything like that, because her with the slingshot is part of these next chapters. Zach Change only says women are often more accurate projectiles than men. Hey, just because they sit down to pee doesn't mean anything.
Well, they do get after us sometimes.
um, so here's the thing I'm going to go for. Okay. Remember I said we had that weird, awkward scene. So it's not just me digging for things. I mean, the book gives us these scenes. The book tells us that scene, and it's weird, right? Unless you have some sort of meaning behind it, it's weird when they're all drawing the straws or the matches from her hand, trying to figure out who's going to be the one to sit outside the smoke hole. And each of them randomly says, "I love you, Bev," before they take one. And this is before Bill's even really, sees her, in that way and really kind of gains a crush on her and everything. But they each tell her they love her. Even Mike, and it's part of it. It's part, it's played as part of the magic, drawing them together. And I said that, a lot of times when you have a fellowship or a group like that, there'll be a female or at least a feminine energy there that's crucial. If they're going to be a whole, if they're complete when they're 7, then each of them brings something to it. And Bev brings this sort of uniquely powerful feminine energy to it, which isn't a sexual energy necessarily. And I talked about, you can even look at it as a little bit of sort of a Virgin Mary-ish kind of idea, although she's not like, it's not because she's a virgin. It's nothing that literal, but that's the kind of idea. and we're going to see that deepen with other things that happen with Bev and with their mission, as we'll get to, because I'm still kind of building the platform, for when we get to that big stuff there. But she is able to hit the mark. She is a great shot with the slingshot. She has perfect aim, basically, pretty much, unless she's like stressed, perfect aim. The word to sin is actually derived from I think it was a Latin word or a Greek or something like that meant it was an archery term, to miss the mark. So to sin is to miss the mark. Beverly never misses the mark. Beverly never, quote unquote, sins. We see a connection yet, Al?
Keep going.
The Immaculate Conception.
Oh God.
Come on. I can't be we got the motherly imagery. Eddie seeing the bosoms and everything like that. She can hit the mark. I mean, this is in here. I'm not crazy. I'm gonna keep building on it.
Okay, I'm on the journey with you, my friend.
So I'll keep building on that, but I just wanted to lay it out there so you guys can keep telling me I'm full of it until but I'm just gonna keep building the case each year. Each year. It's about a year more years. Because like I said, I mean, you got to have if you refute this, then you have to have some sort of reason for these scenes that are in here.
Well, I mean, she is an exalted female,
exactly,
to them. I mean, it's like I say. I mean, you have to maybe like twist and turn a little bit to fit some stuff in there. But
no,
I can see. No, I know. I can see where you're going.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just amazed at the journey.
Troy's got it here. Where's oh, there it goes. Good. The Catholic was. It's even in a lot of different. It's in the Bible. Period. It's a lot of different denominations lay claim to it. But yeah, Catholic certainly. It means a lot to us. The idea of the Catholic symbolism of the Madonna crushing the head of the snake. When he told that's the prophecy of the Garden of Eden. You will crush his head, the serpent, and the serpent will strike your progeny's heel, but you'll crush his head. So yeah, there's that idea. So and yeah, it's really developed by Catholics. So yeah, that's all part of it. And again, it's not that, oh, this is a Catholic work. You didn't know that? This is actually a very heavily Catholic book. No. We've just been seeing how Stephen King draws all of these different religions into this tapestry that he's weaving. And this is just one of them, But Semantic Dragon said I'd exalt her. If we're talking about Annette O'Toole. Oh. Yep.
I'll take Jessica. I'm all right. I just have to wait for Sophia.
Oh God, so creepy. Wear that makeup while you wait.
I'm fuzzled it.
Oh God, yeah. Introduce yourself like that; it'll go over well. Oh man. Okay, so next chapter we're gonna get into the Patrick Hockstader super cringe story. Oh my gosh.
I feel dirty listening to that whole thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, really got into the mind of a psychopath. The idea of like nothing's real except for me, so it doesn't matter what I do to anything around me. That kind of thing. I mean, that's just like total. Yeah, that's just
all I know is my meal started to come on time again.
I know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But we start out the chapter with Beverly walking down to the junkyard there in the Barrens, and she talks about she likes the feel of the bullseye, the slingshot in her back pocket. She said, I mean, it looked like a toy, but it was real. You could blow holes with that thing. So again, the idea of starting to come into some real power. This is a toy-like thing, and yet it's capable of real power. I also like the language used to describe the area around the dump. And it's like an asteroid belt. It's the dumpoid belt. And the dumpoid, so setting it as using imagery that would set it in space, because it's this sort of space between. It's this sort of other world. They're barons, they're mystical magic barons, where they're able to do these kinds of things and affect this kind of change on the environment around them. And then where it comes from, of course, it comes from space. So I like this space kind of imagery to describe all of this, and it works well for all the detritus that are around. from the dump as well. She comes upon them all lighting farts because apparently that's what you did in the 50s, I guess. Did your friends ever do that, Al?
I will not confirm nor deny that that has ever happened. Now, personally, I've never done it. Swear to God. But I have had some friends and cousins who, yes, I was in visual range, and I was like, "What the hell?"
That's weird. Yeah, I know.
It's weird, but it works.
I guess. I had one crazy friend trying it. I didn't stick around for that. I was like, I don't need to be here when he lights himself on fire. I'd rather not be part of that police report.
Yep.
Well, here's what we were doing. All right, so they're doing this, and it's just crazy weird. It's super stupid. On the other hand, you do get a little bit of moment. It allows us to see Henry and his gang of bullies there interacting with each other without being bullies. Like they're not actually bullying the other children at that moment. So you get to see just a little bit more of kind of a well-rounded. I mean, they're psycho, and Bowers is going complete nuts and total nuts, and he's going to go over the edge here and whatever. But you do get a little bit more of a three-dimensional feel for them by seeing them interact with each other outside of chasing after the Losers Club. That's a good thing. It's a good thing when you're writing characters.
Yeah, I gotta say it does round them out as characters as opposed to just a plot device.
Yeah. Really great tension building up, when suddenly Bev realizes, oh my gosh, they could have seen me the whole way I was walking down here. Luckily they were so absorbed, but now she's in this very tenuous situation trying to hide in, broken cars or whatever. They could see her any minute. I remember the first time I was reading this, just really on pins and needles, wondering, oh my gosh, please don't let them see her, So that's a big deal. Then you get this moment, and I wouldn't even say, knowing everything we know about Patrick Hockstader, I don't even think it's that he's like some sort of latent homosexual or anything. I think he's just like up for anything because the world around him's fake, so whatever. If it's going to be something, whether it's feeling up the girls in front of him in class or, jacking off Henry Bowers in the dump, whatever. It's just, he's a very disturbed young boy.
I was remembering thinking while I was listening to this, what was Bauer's reaction going to be? I mean, I didn't have to wait long for it, but I was like, it's going to be interesting to see how he says no, but he still let him, have a little stroke.
Yeah.
There's still some weird stuff going on in that man's head, boy's head.
Yep. And I mean, yeah, if Patrick wouldn't have asked to do anything more, you could imagine how long would that have gone on there? I mean, apparently Bowers was rather responsive.
Like he says, so like I don't go for that, that queer stuff. I think was the line, and I'm like, dude, the guy was just checking you off. Come on, you go for some of that stuff.
No, I'm not going to go there. That's just never mind. I don't really I mean, it's so disturbing. I hate reading anything that happens to animals. So it's so like, I honestly couldn't read through every little piece of all. I remember everything he did. I remember all the stuff he did to each of the animals, and I can't handle it. But it's just, I mean, that
I like the fact you're more concerned about the animals than his baby brother.
It's weird. Like, I hate that part too, but the baby isn't that.
Hashtag babies' lives matter.
It's horrible what he did to the baby, right? Picturing a newborn, though, not as self-aware, as able to suffer the horror as, some poor little puppy wagging his tail and trying to get out or something. It's just, I don't know. It's just, anyway, the whole thing's disturbing. And it does do a good job to show you how demented he is. I think it's interesting that the one thing he does fear was that moment with the leeches. So that's how it appears to him in that fridge, as these giant flying leeches. And if he's somebody who thinks I'm the only real person, now the whole world around me and everybody around me is fake, it doesn't matter what I do to him, he's afraid of something that eats him from the inside out, sucks the blood and like sucks even his eye and all this kind of crazy visuals. Just really, It's just a disturbing damn chapter all the freaking way around.
Yeah, it was a very emotionally difficult chapter to get through.
Yeah.
Like I said, it started. I'm not going to say lighthearted, because it wasn't, because it was kind of funny with the whole "come on, you liked it, I know,"
Hmm.
with this Hoster kid just being weird.
Hmm.
But then when they really start delving into what this kid was,
Yeah.
it gives you the squeamy jeebies.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the word I use, like squeamy jeebies.
Paladimo said he's a parasite, kind of like sucking the life out of everything else around him for his own pleasure, and that's kind of what turns around and gets him in the end. I like that. That's a good imagery.
No,
Um,
that is a good one.
yeah, and yeah, Samantha Dragon, how he saw Pennywise. Yeah, definitely. Um, and then Bev heard Pennywise, but heard him as her father. Which again, foreshadowing things here to come.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was good. Uh, then I like in the end when Beverly goes to get the whole gang, and they're back there, and they're trying to investigate a little bit, and they open up the fridge, and they see the words scrawled on the wall from Pennywise,
Yeah.
inside the door, written in drying blood, were these words: "Stop before I kill you all. A word to the wise from your friend Pennywise." Um, so now we're starting to get more of him, and they're finally letting on to how afraid Pennywise is of them,
Mhm.
which is something that's going to build. And I think that's empowering to them to realize how afraid he is. That's
And,
empowering to, yeah.
and you also see Bill asserting himself as the leader, like the emotional leader.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
he's becoming the general, forward men.
Hmm.
He doesn't say that, but I'm just saying it's like he's the one. It's like, we're going to get you, we're going to kill you,
Hmm.
you're not going to get away with this. And
Yeah.
um,
He's the rallying
right,
point.
he is the rallying cry
Yeah.
of the group.
Because he has that emotional moment in the storm, when he's screaming, "Please help me!" and he's crying, and they're all like, "Yes, absolutely, we'll help you. We'll follow you into battle."
Mhm.
So yeah, and we see that developed further in the next chapter. So if you want to point out anything that I'm just moving fast over, just let me know. But again, I'm just trying to fit it all in and stuff like that. So the bullseye chapter. This is when Ben is now narrating, in the present tense, in the present rather. They're still at the library, and Ben, it's his turn to tell the story here because he remembers this part, and he's talking about how they go back in. Well, first they make the silver bullets, and I've got to say, Al,
I love, I love that part.
I love it. For a
I,
moment, Ben, Al identifies so much with Ben, and as soon as I was rereading this part, I was like, somewhere Al's like fist pumping the
I,
air.
I was enthralled, and if the Amazon feature had a better thing, I'd have gone back. I should have gone back and let's do it again, because when he starts doing the whole, God of Fun,
Yeah.
I was
For that
like,
one moment, he did not feel like plain fat
ah!
old Ben Hanscom who wore sweatshirts to disguise his gut and his tits. He felt like Thor working thunder and lightning at the smithy of the gods.
Oh God, I love that's my favorite line of the entire book.
So, of course, Ben's the one that makes the slugs because he knows how to do that kind of thing. That's his innate gift that he's bringing to them. Uh, did you catch the bit when there's about to turn on the blowtorch and Bill says, "Whoa, wait." And he dashed into the house. He came back a minute later with a pair of cheap turtle wraparound sunglasses that had been languishing in the kitchen drawer for a year or more.
Oh, with the turtle reference.
Turtle, yeah, turtle, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
But as something that's a protective wear, nice.
The Smithy of the God. Oh God, yeah.
He's still on that.
That was just so. No, I was waiting to get to this part because I love it.
Working thunder and lightning at the
You're right,
smithy
man.
of the gods.
And it just made, and to me, that solidified Ben as being one of the most owl-like characters
Yeah.
I have ever read or seen or heard of.
Hmm.
He's me. That is me as a kid. I love it.
Yep, a lot of similarities there. I can see how that really resonates with you, definitely.
Yep.
Um, then you get that cool moment, which I thought was interesting at the end of the night when Bill's parents come back home and Oh, so who? His mom's coming. Oh, so who won? And they say Stanley won, and Bill's like, "Yeah, Jews are really good at making money," or something like that. Which is a joke that Stan himself made a second ago. And this whole situation mirrors what Richie's mom did when Richie's mom overheard Richie call Bill like mushmouth or something like that for the stuttering. And there was that feeling in the air like static electricity, only somehow much more powerful, much more scary. She felt that if she touched any of them, she would receive a walloping shock. What's happened to them? She thought, dismayed. She's frightened of her own child. She's frightened of them in that magical anything's possible space and age and time that they're in and everything like that. So I like that, just bringing that scene back and echoing it with some other characters.
Yeah, it's that magical connection
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's coursing through all of them.
And it's unrestrained friendship in an adult world that's so regimented and segregated and stuff like that. To have these kids with just their unconditional, totally accepting, blind friendship for each other and all their differences. That's something so new and different to the adults.
It's big, diverse fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of everything in there.
Yeah. Right, speaking of Ben, there's another part that I gotta bring up because I thought it was funny. When they're going into the house on Neibolt Street, and they all have to crawl through, and then poor Ben, like Ben pushed grimly with both hands for a moment. He still couldn't move. Then his butt popped. Oh, this is no. First, he turned himself around, began to wiggle through. It says something like how inevitable it was that he got stuck. Ben turned himself around and began to wriggle through the window. He should have foreseen what happened next. It was really inevitable. He got stuck. Because they're going under the same cellar window underneath the porch that the it had crawled out from, trying to chase Eddie. His fanny bound up against the rectangular cellar wall, and he couldn't go any farther. He started to pull himself out and realized, horrified, that he could do it, but was very apt to yank his pants, and perhaps his underpants as well, down to his knees when he did. And there he would be, with his extremely large ass practically in his beloved's face. That had gone down right before him. So it's just, poor guy. It's just a funny scene.
I love him. I love him so much.
I just love his bare ass practically in his beloved's face.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they get in the house, and then the house starts playing all these tricks on them. I love the little touch of when they see like the retro nudie magazine all crumpled up and aged, and then Bev in the present realized that was Mrs. Kirsch's face long before she ever met Mrs. Kirsch in the later on in the 80s as an adult. That was a cool little touch. And again, it's that we talked about how it tries to lure them with adulthood, right? Lure them either with crossing straight into adulthood or crossing reverting or resisting having to grow up, resisting the responsibilities. The balloons that float against the wind, come on down to the circus, or everything like that. So or then the feelings, the bad feelings in the teenager for the teenage werewolf, all about growing up and stuff like that. So it keeps up with that theme. You got Bill really coming into his own as the leader. He's the one that smashes the ceiling when they all realize this is just an illusion. The house isn't really looking like this; it's just an illusion. He has that great moment with Stan when Stan's freaking out, saying, "No, you do have something. Yeah, I've got my brother, but you've got your birds," and he can't even get the word out. And I love when you're in Ben's perspective. See if I can yell it or find it, but okay. Give me it, Stan. Screen start. So Stan starts to freak out. I don't have anything, Stan Uris wailed, and he seemed very small small enough to slip through the cracks in the hall's plankway flooring like a human letter. You got your brother, man, but I don't have anything. You do, Bill yelled. He grabbed Stan and then felt sure he was going to bust him one, and his thoughts moaned, "No, Bill, please, that's Henry's way. If you do that, it'll kill us right now." But Bill didn't hit Stan. He turned him around with his rough hands and tore the paperback from the back of his pocket and Stan's jeans. "Gimme it," Stan screamed, beginning to cry. The other stood stunned, shrinking away from Bill, whose eyes now seemed to actually burn. His forehead glowed like a lamp, and he held the book out to Stan like a priest holding out a cross to ward off a vampire. "You got your b-b-b-b." He turned his head up, the cords in his neck standing out, his Adam's apple like an arrowhead buried in his throat. Then he was filled with both fear and pity. Ben was filled with both fear and pity for his friend Bill Denborough, but there was also a strong sense of wonderful relief. Had he doubted Bill? Had any of them? Oh, Bill, say it, please. Can you say it? And somehow Bill did. You got your birds, your birds. I love that imagery of his Adam's apple like an arrow. Like that's Bill's power, to be able to speak the command, and literally to speak when he goes back to the thrust his fist against the post. And still he says he sees the ghost bit. Later we'll see that. But that leadership, the command, it was just a beautiful little scene.
Yeah, and of course, like just it makes you wonder the way it's written was King using imagery, or was he literally like eyes starting to glow? Was there something magical happening?
Yeah. How much of that language is
yeah? How much was just an
hyperbolic or not? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering that when I was at that part.
That's interesting. Yeah. Think about that. So they do make it through this event. Eventually, they get to the room where it rushes out of the toilet. It's in the bathroom, of course. The toilet, the sewers, the pipes up from underneath, from underground that we've been calling out. And I love the moment when she only has 2 slugs. She misses with the first one. The second one, because she's so nervous and everything like that, he's almost about to gore Ben. I mean, he's already clawed Ben's front and thrown Ben in the bathtub. And she hits him. She hits him square between the eyes. Again, exactly where David hit Goliath, in the forehead, right between the eyes. So that imagery there again. And it hurts him. He shrieks. It really hurts him, but it doesn't kill him. And they know that they're all out of ammo. And so again, it's about belief here. Previous in the book, when he goes to an adult Henry, he's saying, I can hurt them if they only halfway believe, but if they all the way believe they can kill me, I can't hurt them. Well, this is what he's talking about right here. They believed they could hurt it with the silver slugs. Once they ran out of the silver slugs, they were able to make it believe that they could still kill him, that they still had more slugs, and that's what sent him running away. Otherwise, he could have ended it right there. It could have killed them all right there after that one horribly painful wound, and the book would have been over. But they were able, in their united front of belief, to make it believe, and that's what's so cool about that scene. I think
it was like I remember thinking about it. I came up with a couple of analogies. One, we had the Dirty Harry thing. It's like, I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 5 bullets or 6?
Mm-hmm.
If anybody remembers that.
Yeah.
And so, it's the bluff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the Trek and me went to the Corbomite maneuver that Kirk pulled on that big ball, on the big floating ball of a ship. And I was like, it's poker, man. Sometimes you've got to make them believe you've got the nuts.
Yeah.
And I love. Please tell me you get the reference of the nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just poker language.
Looking at the language, looking at the time here, I just want to roll here. I love that scene that the werewolf's greenish eyes flickered among them, now filled with uncertainty as well as pain. Blood poured from down the front of its jacket in sheets. Bill Dimbrell smiled. It was a gentle, rather lovely smile, but it did not touch his eyes. You shouldn't have started with my brother, he said. Send the fucker to hell, Beverly. And then it says the uncertainty left the creature's eyes. It believed. And boom, that's when it slithered away. I love that. Keep going here. Then we had that moment where the popping sounds, Bev and all the commotion, the buttons had popped off her blouse, her breasts are there revealed. Again, the breasts. Now, yes, a little bit of sexual peak there, but also the image of the breasts again, the feminine there with the breasts, that's done with her, again, for a reason. Bill had become aware of her now, of course, in this moment too. So poor Ben, I hate that.
Oh, God, Jesus.
But I do love later when they're in the clubhouse and they're talking about what to do next, and Ben's dealing with this, that he knows that Bill likes her too now, and he knows that she likes Bill. And it says, more silver slugs, she asked him. He found he could barely stand to meet her glance. I love you, Beverly. Just let me have that. You can have Bill or the world or whatever you need. Just let me have that. Let me go on loving you, and I guess it'll be enough. That's courtly love. That's also the devotion to the Virgin Mary, that's where courtly love kind of gets its thing from, so that's, again, I'm just pointing it out.
And I also love it, and I have felt this sentiment before when someone that I was interested in was with another. And it's something he says is something like, well, if that's the way it's going to be, but you'll never love her with the way I love her.
Yeah, that is a cool line.
Ever.
I like that. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it will never, you will never love her as much as I do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've felt that, and I knew what he was thinking. Yet another way
Hmm.
I have identified with young Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to end up this chapter here with just reading a few of the quotes, which again get at this idea of dreams and power and what the magic is and how these seven are being brought together. And remember that epigraph, that's the quote that starts out the book, that where he dedicates it to his children. Stephen King dedicates it to his son, to believe in magic or whatever, because that's what the book's about or whatever like this is. These things were, well, they were dreams made real, and once dreams became real, they escaped the power of the dreamer and they became their own deadly things, capable of independent action. Bill's talking about the stuff they see from it there. It always comes back to power. I love Beverly Marsh and she has power over me. She loves Bill Denborough, so he has power over her. But if he's starting to love her, she's starting to have power over him. Superman has power except when there's kryptonite. Batman has power even though he can't fly or see through walls. My mom has power over me. Her boss has power over her. Blah, blah, blah. He's wondering where power comes from. The power of the silver, power of the slugs. Where does power like that come from? Where does any power come from? How do you get it? How do you use it? So this is the things they're really kind of coming to terms with now, as they're going to go on as kids to have their final confrontation with him, and then of course as adults later as well. So again, just for time wise, to move into the Derry interlude, this was
Another disturbing
chapter. Incredibly disturbing chapter. I mean, the axe murderers, while everybody at the bar is just still eating and drinking.
But I gotta say, you see that, I mean, because they have alluded to it in almost every interlude, that there is this great act of violence that during the act no one seems to care.
Mm-hmm.
But then once it happens, that's what, and then everybody gets a bloodlust.
Exactly. Then some of the people at the bar were the ones to go lynch him. Yeah.
Right. So I just that's one of my, just want to throw that out there.
Paladin Demo says it makes it the like to Nightmare on Elm Street was good. He says dreams are powerful, changeling, the dreams, beast, the primordial, Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street's a great connection there, because it's very much the same thing. There's like that one wonderful scene I love in Dream Warriors, I think it is, where the guy's dreaming and he realizes, wait a minute, it's my dream. I can have power too. And he like makes himself over into his like Punisher like superhero. Of course, then Freddy just becomes Super Fred and bullets bounce off of him and he kills him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But still it's a little bit of that principle. You can use the monster's magic against them if it's all about the belief and everything in the dreams. Yeah. The only thing that we can come back to the Derry interlude next time if anybody wants to bring more about it, because this is a very gruesome scene. But the only thing I just want to point out to is at the end of it again, Mike is starting to wonder why is it calling us back, and he seems to think it is definitely calling them back for revenge. It waited until they were old enough to where they could no longer believe like a child. They could no longer believe at that point like it did. Who were they, 37, 38, something like that. So let's bring him back then when he's got more of a chance to beat them. But again, every time it sees them, even as adults, it tries to warn them, get out. If you leave tonight, you go away, get away from me. So I think it's still up in the air in terms of interpretation at this point in the book anyway. Did it draw them back, or is it trying to get them the hell away? Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe it's kind of wanting revenge, but also terrified too. I mean, you can make a case for that as well.
Yeah, it could be so mentally powerful that it is prepared, that is prepared for us. Like, if they come back, great. If they don't, I'm ready to.
Yeah. Samantha Dragon's correcting me. It was part 5, the Dream Child, not Dream Warriors. Okay, yeah, sorry. I watched those movies very closely together as a teenager, and they run together sometimes. All right, so that is again, sorry to give it kind of a quick run through, but I think we covered some really cool things in it. I want to take a brief break in a second. I'm going to hit the bathroom, grab a soda, and then I'll open up the stream again for office hours, and we'll come right back here as we usually do. But this was we're up to chapter 19 now. So we've got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And then there's the last interlude and the epilogue.
19 was such a long chapter. God, it took forever.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to do another 3 chapters at least. So 19, 20, 21. Is that okay with everybody?
Okay.
All right. So we'll do 19, 20, 21 for next week. Now, of course, we're going to go ahead and start watching the miniseries, the 1990 miniseries, on this Saturday night for the Saturday Night Rewatch. We're going to watch the first half, and then Sunday night we're going to do the book study early again for these 3 chapters, and then we'll watch the second half of the miniseries that Sunday night. And then the next weekend we'll go ahead and watch Chapter 1, the recent movie, gearing up for the release of Chapter 2. So if you don't own it 1990, it's incredibly easy to get. Every Walmart I've been to, it's in the like $3.97 bin, up at the front near the registers.
Cool.
I'm sure it's like $5 or something online if you find it. I mean, it's just really cheap. Now you can get the Blu-ray and get the nice version or whatever, but still, it's not hard to find. I'm sure it's probably even streaming somewhere that's not too terribly dubious online, but it's pretty easy to go for. So that's going to be the Saturday Night Rewatch, watching first half of that, and then we'll finish it up Sunday.
Okay, and I just want to straighten one thing out. It's Fuzzle Nip, Fuzzle NIPP. Thank you. It's PP. Thank you.
Oh.
Yes, it's Fuzzle Nip.
Double P. Okay.
Double P, and it's Fuzzle.
Yes, because the nips. The NIPP is short for nipple, so that makes sense.
Who says it's short for nipple? It is nip. It is a long line of us metaphysical, what interdimensional weird things. Name. It's a proud name. The Nip family.
Yeah, Paladin Nimbus is $3 to $5, easy to find. Good, yeah. Troy said he said PP. All right, people are ready for office hours. I can sense it. I am too. We got a lot to talk about with office hours. What?
It's not fuzzy nips. It's fuzzle nips. ZZLE, guys, get it straight.
You'll never correct them now. It's in their head.
Get my name straight, and I'll come back and destroy you.
So give me like 5-7 minutes, something like that. Then I'll be back, and I'm gonna close this stream down. And then in like about 5 minutes, I'll open up the next one. I just want to go grab a fresh soda and open up this door, get a little air in here.
Gonna be a brand new YouTube.
Yep, new stream for office hours. So I'll shoot you a new link in a second.
Okay, so Zodogi Dogi.
All right. So thanks for guys for hanging out. We'll get the next 3 chapters next week, and I'm not even really going to do my usual send off because I'm going to see you in a few minutes. But yeah, bye.
Bye.
That was a nice Pennywise voice there.